I think it's very important because one, being able to know that the stigma that often goes along with mental health is totally past due time for it to be eliminated. I think it's very important that everyone is educated to know that it's okay to not be okay. I was watching one of shows on last night that I like to watch, and it was so excited to be able to see two men that were talking to say, "Hey, I'm not okay." And one of the other guys said, "Hey, I hadn't been okay for a while, and because of it, I've been going through therapy." And the other guy was like, "Oh, wow, really?" When he was facing, should he go and get the help that he needed, because he was thinking about the stigma and he didn't want to be able to say that he wasn't okay. And so just to now see that as the norm on television. Even I was reading a book with my son the other day, and the book was called "It's Okay to Be Different." And on there it was saying, it's okay to talk about your feelings. And my son, who's 6, was like, yeah, it's really okay to talk about your feelings. You should talk about your feelings. And so that excites me, because I think the more that we educate all of those around us, from our children to just everyone in our community, that it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to seek help to be able to be okay. It's totally okay to have a day that's not the best day, but pushing through and getting the help that you need to be able to get to the other side is what's most important. So I think it's very important during Mental Health Awareness Month that we do bring that awareness. We do help to eliminate the stigma, and we educate all those that we can.
Hi, welcome to Revive Ministries Livestream. It's another week, and we're starting another live stream with the theme being reflecting and healing through a storm. It's been 6 months, and I thought it was prudent that we kind of reflect on what we've learned and what we hope for moving forward. I invited a couple guests today. One of them you've met before. Her name is Temika. She's a good friend of mine. She's a wonderful colleague, and she's been here since the start of Revive Ministries. And also, she is bringing her daughter, Morgan. And I just want to welcome both of them. Welcome. Yay. How are you guys today? I want you guys, obviously school's about to start, which, me and Temika were talking about. And I think it's also that we have to look at, not only reflect how it's affecting, us adults, but how it's affecting those who are in school, and how do we move forward, not only as a nation, but as people around the world. So I want to just kind of first ask if you guys could just tell a little bit about yourself. What you, like, honestly, Temika, you've been on, but like anything you want to share, any insight, anything short that you would like to share with those watching, I guess, today. Anything?
Sure. I'm Temika Jones, and as you said, have been a great friend of Revive Ministries and on the show. a few times. And during that time, wearing my hats from Temika, the social worker, to Temika working in managed care, with some nonprofit experience. But today I come with my most favorite hat, Tamika the mom. And so, as being Tamika mama to Morgan and Christian, her brother and my son, it's an honor to be here today to once again be a part of Revive Ministries, but to also bring my daughter, who I also call my favorite actress because she's the performing arts person in the family. So this is Morgan.
Thank you,
Hi,
Morgan.
my name's Morgan, and as my mom said, I do like to act, and I'm really happy to be on the podcast today.
I'm so thankful that both of you can make it. Right now it's hard to get guests to, with all the crazy schedule that everyone's in right now. But before I always begin, I like to just put a disclaimer. I do not just assume those who are out there who are in crisis, please seek immediate medical attention. I'm going to provide some numbers and some links, especially if you're in the United States. But if you are in crisis, I do encourage you to find help. Encourage you to do that. But at the same time, I also like to start off with a quote. Seeing we have a student, yeah, and today I would like to. Our focus is on education. School year is about to start in the U.S. and it's been 6 months since this all started. Benjamin Franklin has been notable in our U.S. history, so we're gonna go with him. And he says, "Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. Involve me and I learn." I think it's telling. Can both of you kind of like share when you're hearing that quote? What is it? What rings to you right now?
Sure. Hearing that quote, what rings to me basically means to me that if you tell someone, they will, they'll remember, but it kind of go in one ear and one out. If you teach them, they'll really sink in that knowledge and remember what you taught them, and
Yeah,
involve me in that hands-on experience you will learn about the subject.
exactly. And Tamika, you want to add to that, or you?
Sure, and definitely as I think about the times that we're in right now, as and I say we're all learners because even from a parent standpoint, I'm learning something new every day, and so that whole involve me and I learn, that's been kind of my mantra, what I've held just through this period of being a parent learner because um, I'm able to learn alongside with
Mm-hmm.
Morgan and her brother, and but also, it's different when you're going to parent night versus really being there when instruction is being given and helping to navigate. And so, definitely, like Morgan said, that hands-on piece, I have a newfound respect for that whole process, whole learning process.
Yeah, and I feel like when you are involved, at least from what I remember when I was in school, I was more invested. If
Mhm.
someone just tells me something, I'll try to remember, hopefully. But if they teach me, I may learn it. No, I might remember it. But when you fully learn something, is when you actually it becomes part of who you are. When you really it becomes more of it gets more saturated in yourself. And I feel that that's the best way we do learn. And how do we do that with the social distancing? How do we do that now? Like right now, it's hard. So I want to kind of have both you and Tamika and Morgan just kind of share how your 6 months been. It's been, I would say, about March when it really heated up in U.S. How's it been since then? What have you learned personally?
My last 6 months have been full of new surprises. I have found on different social medias. I learned how to cook different things that I never knew I could cook before.
Mm.
Um, I've learned that you can't really plan everything. Things come unexpected, and you just roll with the flow.
Yeah, and I actually experimented with cooking a little bit myself too. Anyway, how about you, Tamika? What have you learned these last 6 months?
Definitely grace has been the theme for us as a family and for myself. And as Morgan said, that whole go with the flow, like
Mm.
knowing that it's okay from one day to the next and 1 minute from the next, that we don't know what the plan is, but to still be okay and giving just that grace all the way around for the things that we used to be sticklers on. We were sticklers about going to bed at a certain time because we
up at a certain time to be out the
Yeah.
door at a certain time. It's
Yeah.
kind of like, hey, we gonna just figure it out and just give the grace on knowing that it's okay. We don't do it all the same way. And so these last 6 months have definitely shown and taught us that. And as Morgan said, it's also given us so much family time because with everybody being home from school, from home, working from home, we started off with me being the lunchroom lady and cooking breakfast, lunch, and still dinner. To Morgan saying, "Hey, mom, I want to try some recipes." And can
Mhm.
Thursday now be my day where I bring some the meals that I want to fix? And of course, I'm like, sure. And so it's been
Yeah.
an experience for us, and it's been great.
It's wonderful here. A lot of times, we forget what we already have. It's a safe place. You're home. You can make a mistake. I have a fiance. I have not made her sick from my food yet, and it's amazing.
Right.
It's amazing. But at the same time, it's wonderful when you have that safe place. And I remember when I was a child, the happiest moments for me was when I felt safe. When I
Mhm.
felt safe, I was home. I was with my folks, and it made me happy. It reminded me of the story of John Lennon. Everyone knows the Beatles, John Lennon. John
Mhm.
Lennon, as a child, the teacher asked him, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And he said, "I want to be happy." And me being older, it means a lot. It means a
It
lot
does.
today. I feel like Morgan has said. A lot of us try to control every aspect of our lives, and it doesn't go well right now. But having that safe place to make mistakes, to practice your cooking, has been really healing, and being grateful for those learning experiences. I just want to kind of shift gears. I was going to talk about the social aspect, but before we do that, I want to ask you, in what creative ways have you been able to adapt despite the current situation? I know we're talking about some good things, but obviously, one of the bad things is like you can't see the people like you normally can. You can't go to the movie theater. It's like, what happened this summer? Like all these movies, I was so excited, can't. So it's just like a lot of adapting. So let's go with Temika first. What have you done? What have you done that helped you adapt moving forward through this COVID-19? And what have you learned?
I think right away we're a busy family. Everyone has something to do. From Morgan with her extracurricular activities to mom with meetings and different things that I'm doing, as well as a little brother. And so, um, we've been creative in this. Well, first, whenever everything came to a halt, like you said, home being the safest place.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
got to really enjoy our home way more than we've ever done because
yeah,
we always have been in the hustle and bustle.
yeah.
But once we got to that time of kind of being a little stir crazy too, being creative and just identifying different ways to spend extra time with each other. So we've had family nights with board games. We've also explored outdoors like no other that we would have done before, from trails to we were new in North Carolina, just made our 1 year there. So we've been exploring just all the different trails and different greenways and all there in North Carolina. So been able to kind of adapt and be creative in that end. And then also Morgan also had planned a family Zoom night. That was that Easter, I think. Easter.
Okay.
She sent a text out, and it was awesome because we had family from all over,
Mm-hmm.
from family that we had to help troubleshoot to get on, but everybody's on, and it was that wow factor. And so just being able to kind of adapt and being creative to still be able to be close to family, even though being far away.
How,
With
yeah, go ahead, Morgan. I was about to ask you.
with me, well, COVID-19 affected my school year.
Mm-hmm.
With me and my friends, we discovered we always said Zoom was for our parents, and
Yeah.
we're not old like our parents, so we didn't want to be on. But we were able to be on Zoom and just doing stuff to keep us active in the house, like workout
Mm-hmm.
play together has been really fun for me that I've been doing to adapt.
Oh wow. It's really funny, like things I would never think I'll be using so much. Like Zoom. Like I remember seeing it, I'm like, I'll do it if I need to, but it has been a blessing in disguise. Your mom
Mhm.
mentioned you guys would go and have family nights. I remember in February, and some of you know through the podcast that my fiance was in Korea at the time, and she had to fly back, and we had to make that decision. But leading up, we did Zoom meetings, watching movies. It was ridiculous. We watched a movie together. It was really ridiculous. I watched like Lifeline or what. So, but it was one of those moments. You just be creative because it's the unknown. But when you have that safe space, it provides room to heal, but also provides room to adapt and learn. And that's what we're talking about today. And also, I want to shift back where I was going to go to with social aspect. You talked about, your friends, Morgan, that you didn't think Zoom was for grown-ups, like me. But now, like, you see, like, oh, how has school been? Well, obviously, can you share how school has been? School's about to start. And in regards to the social aspect that you mentioned, what major changes did you have to unlearn and learn quickly? Because I could imagine you're in the arts, and I don't know that a lot of it is I was in choir, I was in my high school musical, so I know that involves a lot of interaction, a lot of connections. And how do you continue to maintain that level and moving forward and going to school, Morgan?
I just finished my first week of school at my new school, Martin.
Mhm.
It's been really different because most of the kids, I guess it's early in the morning, most of the kids cameras are off and mics are muted, and
Mhm.
it's been a major change versus going to a classroom, doing
Mhm.
work, listening to the teacher, versus not able to find the Google Meet code, not
Yeah.
able, joining your classes late because of computer problems. It
Mhm.
has really been different, and
Mhm.
I'm getting used to it, but it's a major change.
It's a major change. I saw this one funny comment that this one kid named himself reconnecting, so we wouldn't have to connect. We wouldn't have to participate in class. Anyway, I thought that was hilarious. Anyway, now that in spite, we're talking about adapting. One quote that really brings to mind is the measure of intelligence is the ability to change. Albert Einstein. I always find that a lot of us kind of are reluctant to change. Before this COVID-19, we probably wouldn't do half the things we're doing today, but because it was forced upon all of us, we are. And I feel, you see, at least for me, I see one of two people who kind of complain and kind of just sit. And I'm not trying to say, um, but also you see people like who are taking advantage and adapting. For me, it was not easy, but at the end of the day, I learned a lot. I would not be doing live stream like I would. Remember, Temika, I did a lot of events. I did them face to face, and I thought that was what I remember last October. I said I'll try podcast before this whole thing even started, and it's a lot of change. But I feel with change, you kind of have that opportunity to find a little bit more about yourself. Morgan, you started first week, and this is totally different. You're not used to this, and I'm sure as a parent, you're not used to this whole aspect. Some parents have their kids homeschooled even before this COVID-19, and for various reasons, but to this large of a scale is a whole different ballpark. When everyone is scared, when I go, when movie theaters are like, I don't even know, like they're trying to do drive-in movie theaters. I think they're trying to do, but there is this fear aspect. But one thing what I keep hearing is, you guys are keep adapting, and I feel that is embracing change. And just like Albert Einstein says, life is always good. There's always seasons in life, and there's always change. And when you're able to adapt and you have the awareness, I feel that you are better off and you do much better. Any comments on that quote? I was going to lead into another part, but
Yeah, I definitely say that we try every day to try to just make lemonade out of the lemons. With Morgan, like she said, first year at Morton Performing Arts, and she's dying to get to this school. We're here now, and
Mhm.
there will be no theater this year. And so
Yeah,
Morgan doesn't know a life of not participating in a production,
yeah.
a spring and winter production. And so, but what we did is we started looking just outside the box where theater isn't going to be offered this year. She did have the opportunity for some other performing arts classes that she could participate in. They weren't
Mm.
high on the list, some experience that maybe she would not have gotten had it not been because of COVID. And so just continuing to, like you said, to just be able to change, able to see the bright light despite what's going on.
Yeah, and Morgan, you have anything to share? Or I was going to just lead into community. We're a community, and our connections do matter a lot. I feel like it's apparent now more than ever that I remember there was a social worker who came on my podcast, and she worked in New York City, Temika, and there was a homeless guy who was incarcerated, and he asked her after 20 years. Now he's living in a home. He asked her, "What's the hardest thing being homeless in New York City?" And she listed off everything, the house, the food, and everything. But literally, he said, "No, no, 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 you got it wrong. Loneliness. That was the hardest thing. Loneliness." And for us, if you're not in a safe environment, and we are truly grateful that we are in a safe environment. And I do appreciate you, Temika and Morgan, coming on and sharing your insight. But it is fundamental. In part of learning is that you feel safe. If you don't feel safe, if you have a bad teacher, this, Morgan. If you have a teacher that is just yelling the whole time, she might have the right answers or whatever, but how much will you listen? How much will you learn? And it goes back to the beginning. You have to involve people in the learning process. And how do we do that now? Because the thing is, when we're involved in anything, it makes us feel like we're part of something. Just like when I was in the play, I was part of something. I wasn't the lead, but I was something. So being a part of something is a big thing as a community. So I want to ask you, what ways have you both? I asked this before, but I guess what do you want to share when it comes to education? Our whole emphasis on education. School's about to start. What would you like to see happen? We talked about what you learned. What would you like to see happen moving forward? Temika and Morgan, whoever wants to go first.
I one of my classes this year is chorus,
Mhm.
and with chorus, you do a lot of stuff physically, but because of COVID, I would like to see, maybe chorus. We have a singing night on Zoom, and our
Mm,
parents come see what we have been learning on, our classes.
mm, mm,
Seeing stuff that we could do physically.
mm.
How can we do the same thing virtually so that everyone's safe?
How about you, Tamika, as a parent? What would you like to see moving forward? School year starting.
Yeah, definitely. The social and emotional piece is so big, and so just however, there are ways that the kids are able to still come together in a safe way. If that's virtual, if that's in a small group setting, just because we have to learn, we have to do school, and I totally know we have to check those boxes. But at the same time, I want to also see us putting that social and emotional factor for the students just as high as we do from the education and the learning piece of it too, because the community and connection is important. I've been glad with Morgan's Girl Scout, the Girl Scout she was in, they ended. However, we were able to find another troop, and it's an international troop. They
Mm,
usually travel internationally. Well, that's what they sell the cookies for. So now they've pivoted to where each meeting they'll take the girls virtually to another country, and so just still bringing that togetherness together for the kids, so they can still have those connections. Because, like you said, that loneliness can totally happen because, yeah, you can get on, yeah, you can do the work and you can submit it, but still need to have that connection and bonding.
exactly. And it's just so nice to have guests like you who, you, Tamika, you've been here, and also Morgan. It's wonderful to meet you again. But I want to say, I want to give you guys a time to share your final thoughts. Honestly, right now, just too much going on right now to really see what's next. What's above the waterline? About what's beyond the horizon right now, moving forward. But one thing that I liked is Viktor Frankl. I don't know if you know him. He was a psychiatrist in Auschwitz. He was Jew. And one thing he noticed was the people who survived the Holocaust in his concentration camp was the ones who had hope. The ones who didn't survive, because you have to, despite what's going on around you, you have to have some light at the end of the tunnel, or there has to be purpose, and purpose driven has been really helpful and a lot of healing. So, any last thoughts, either Morgan or Temika, whoever wants to share first?
I'll say definitely that hope is very important. And if there are any last words I can leave with parents, and maybe Morgan can leave some students, is that to keep that hope and to find ways to maintain hope and to find hope. I know for us, through virtual school, because you can learn anywhere now. Morgan visits her dad in the summer in Louisiana. And so we've been able to extend that period where she can spend more time with her dad, and he can do seventh grade math. So, but we've had know what's happening and when it's going to happen and how, but I'm not afforded, just as anyone else, not afforded that opportunity right now. And so just maximizing what we can and looking beyond what's not, and just really soaking in what we do have right now, and how we can maximize the time that we have with one another.
How about you, Morgan?
I go with having hope with. I know a lot of kids were upset at my school, old school and new, about not seeing friends and everything. I'm saying just have hope that stuff will become, good again, and experience a lot of things. Look into things that you thought that you wouldn't have done, because it's really fun.
Thank you so much. There's this one quote. It says, "Live life as though nobody's watching. Express yourself as though everyone's listening." The wonderful thing about that is that I remember, you get a group of 5-year-olds, Morgan, and you say, "Who's a dancer?" Everyone raises their hand. Right. Who's a singer? Something happens after that terribly wrong, because no one raises their hand when they get older. But at the same time, it's wonderful to see that, how much hope can do to ourselves and to our community, and always providing that safe place. Thank you, Temika and Morgan. I just want to also thank those who are watching. I'm going to share with, obviously you can watch the live stream, on Facebook or YouTube, and also you can watch the videos, which will be on the website the next day on reviveministriesfl.com/videos. It's weird to me to say that, but next month is gonna be a little different. I won't be recording till October, like near October. Will be fresh news. There'll be 2 compilations for the year of podcasting and everything. I hope you enjoy them. I made videos of both My Story Recovery and the Roberts Corner. That'll be showcasing on the each Thursday. There'll be a video version, and there'll be audio podcast version. But again, this is goodbye from Revive Ministry live stream, leaving you with this quote: "Every student can learn, just not on the same day or the same way."